Here's one key thing for better workouts.
What is the key?
Well, Frankie, I'm glad you asked. The key to having better workouts is being able to adapt to harder and more challenging workouts. And one way to do that is to keep your body in good working order and be able to have a stacked alignment.
What is a stacked alignment?
Oh, well, I'm glad you asked a second question that is so useful for this video. A stacked alignment is the ability to control your center of gravity.
So Marco, what does it look like to have a stacked alignment?
It's basically when you're doing exercises, can you have a good relationship between your pelvis, your rib cage, and your head? If you're able to have a good stacked alignment, it puts your muscles in their most optimal position. So you can have an excellent workout.
And how would I know if I'm not in the correct alignment?
I think, a couple things that may help you identify that would be, one is you may not feel the target muscles as much in an exercise. So if you're doing a squat, you may not feel your quads or your glutes as much. The second one, you may feel more joints. So if you're doing a squat again, you may feel more in the knees or low back, and your range of motion might be less. So you have a harder time going full range of motion.
Might feel like stiff.
Yeah.
In a way, okay.
So like harder to kind of sit into deeper ends of the range of motion. And the third one, I think, would be just feeling a little bit less stable, where like more like solid, where you can really push in a movement.
Okay, so why do we lose control of our center of gravity?
Well, you see, Frankie, as humans, we all deal with gravity. And we're always trying to fight to stay upright against gravity. And one of the most common, simple compensations for our body, which is always looking for the path of least resistance, is to push our center of mass forward. And that helps put force into the ground to stay upright. And that leads to things like your common anterior pelvic tilt, which is basically a center of gravity that's been pushed forward.
What muscles help with this?
Well, it would seem that our bodies did a good job at making muscles to actually deal with this problem. And the key ones we're looking at: obliques, internal obliques. So they kind of run across the stomach here, and they basically keep the rib cage back and the hamstrings. So back of the thighs attach on the base of your pelvis, and they keep the pelvis back. So it's not just about training these muscles though. Like if I just did 1,000 crunches, like side crunches, it's not going to do the same thing. What we're trying to do is coordinate them. So it's not even a strength issue often. It could be a bit of a strength, could be some endurance, but it's a coordination thing where we're trying to teach the hamstrings to be working at pulling that center of gravity.
And do they work together?
They work together.
They work together.
Yeah. And one of the simplest ways to do this actually is just feeling more weight in your heel. So just by trying to be able to sense some weight in your heel, there's a bunch of sensors on the bottom of your feet. And if I can feel a little bit more weight in the heel, it basically helps activate the hamstrings, the obliques, to do their job at keeping your center of mass back.
Okay, enough of that blibber blabber. How do I take the steps to train all of these valuable things that you've been teaching me today?
Well, Frankie, aside from your comment, I think we should get to the gym. So the main goal with these postural exercises is we want to make the stacked alignment second nature for when you're training, so that you don't have to think about it when you're training. You can just enjoy your workouts and have good technique. So what we're going to do with this is we're going to use a physically easy exercise that's not like hard to practice coordinating those muscles we talked about: the hamstrings, the obliques, the heels. So I'm set up with Frankie with this exercise. It's called a 90-90 with low reach. You want the bottom of your heels on the edge of the bench, because remember, there's the sensors on the bottom of your feet. You want to be able to feel the bottom of your heels versus having the back of your heels on the bench. From here, we're just going to pull the heels into the bench very gently and rotate our pelvis, just lifting the tailbone off the ground. So if you look at Frankie's pelvis, she's not arching her back and lifting off. She's rotating, just lifting the tailbone. And whenever I'm teaching someone this exercise, I'll have them do that motion a few times, so they can just practice that pelvis rotation and be able to feel their heels and their hamstrings. Some keys here is you're not crunching your abs to lift it. You actually want to keep your abs relaxed. So you can have your hands on your stomach, making sure that your abs aren't doing the job. It's the hamstrings. doing the job. You may feel a bit of glutes, that's okay too. We're just doing a slight rotation, so lower back is still flat on the ground. So once you've done that a few times, you've got the hang of it, you're just gonna hold it in that up position. So the tailbone's just like an inch off the ground. The next portion here is trying to find our oblique muscles. So, and remember, we're trying to bring the rib cage back. So one way to do this is Frankie's gonna reach her hands up towards her knees. And as Frankie reaches, there's gonna be a slight kind of reach forward with the shoulders. And as she's doing that, she's gonna feel her back go into the ground. So think, I reach forward, and I feel my back go into the ground more, and that should help those obliques contract. Do you feel obliques there? Perfect. So basically, when we can do that tuck of the pelvis and the reach to get the ribs back, that's the position we want to hang out in. This last little thing we're going to add in is basically some more deep breathing. And the goal with the deep breathing is to get a little, like squeeze out a little bit more mobility and muscle activity by getting that rib cage to fully close. The more the rib cage closes, the more abs we can get and the more motion we can get. And if we can get a nice slow inhale, we can also help stretch out all those tight areas in the back of the rib cage that can push our center of gravity forward. And so the way to do the breathing here is while Frankie's holding this shape, I'm gonna ask Frankie to do a nice long sigh on the exhale. And the goal is, exhale around 5 to 10 seconds. And you're basically sighing until you feel that all the air go out of your ribs and you feel these obliques engaging more at the end. And then on the inhale, keeping a little bit of that ab tension and doing a slow and silent inhale. And Frankie, when you get to the end of that exhale, can you feel a bit more abs? And if you keep a bit of that tension and you breathe in slow, do you feel a bit of stretch throughout the back? Awesome. And so you can rest, by the way. Great job, Frankie. Everyone give her a hand. Give her a hand. That was very nice execution of this lift. In general, as far as reps, your first set you could do like 10 reps just to get more feel for it. And it's good to practice the reaching, practice the tucking, just to get a sense for finding the heels, the hamstrings, the abs. And then as you get better at it, you don't need to do as many reps, right? So you can do a set of 5 reps and be good. Ways I would structure this in your workout routine, you could do one set, say you just got to the gym and you're about to do your workout, you could do one set here, one warm-up set, another set here, second warm-up set, or your first working set, and then do another set and be good for the rest of your workout. And you can kind of use it as needed. So for someone like you, you're a very physically active person, you dance a lot, 1 or 2 sets probably be enough to have you feeling tuned up and working hard. Say you're a bit less active or you're coming back from an injury, you could add a bit more, doing a bit more throughout your workout in between sets. If you play around with it to see how it feels for you. So now we did the postural exercise, and now we're going to do a squat exercise.
Okay.
And you just do 5 reps.
Okay.
Yeah. Frankie, how does it feel to go a bit lower?
How does it feel to go a bit lower?
Yeah, if you try
okay, yeah.
just a little bit lower and see how that feels. What does it feel like in your body? Good, bad?
Yeah, it feels good. Definitely better than usual.
Okay.
I feel like I can go down and still feel engaged through my core.
Okay, good. That's good. Let's do I'll actually just get you to do another set here. Just do 5 breaths on your own time.
Yeah.
And then we'll try another squat.
Down here?
See how it feels. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, cool. Okay.
Just go a little bit slow with your head. Nice. Okay, I think this is what I'll say for the squat. So for the squat, my cueing is going to be a bit different. I don't need her to be so focused on specific body parts. I want her to focus on the general movement. I may say something like, feel some weight in your heels. And now let's try to just think, sitting your butt straight down, letting the knees go forward a little bit.
Okay.
Let's try that, yeah. You can see me in here, Max? That's great. So now that we're working out, I'm not gonna make Frankie focus as much on specific things. There's a fly in here. I'm gonna try to zoom out a little bit and have her focus a bit more on the movement. I will say something like, can you feel a little bit more weight in your heel? And now all I'm gonna get you to do is sit your butt straight down and let your knees go forward a little bit as you do the movement. Try to go as low as you can that feels where you feel like engaged and where it feels strong.
Okay.
Very nice. Yeah, letting those knees go forward.